This is News Central. Those are our big stories. I'm Keminni Amanor.
And I am Mawuena Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. This afternoon, we start from the issue of illegal mining.
I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. And as a result, we established this committee within the government to design a policy for us, not just to stop it, to reclaim the land, to let our rivers work again, but also to see how we can figure a way for all these able-bodied young men who are involved in this activity to find an alternative livelihood. So it's a package. It's a package that we have designed to try and bring this menace to a conclusion. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps this is the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me. If I continue this exercise, perhaps you'll know, if by the grace, I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do.
Placing is allowing this sometimes taking place in the full glare of the public. Water bodies have barely improved. Ghana Water Company spending millions of hard-earned taxpayers' money to justice. Its central regional office has been left with no choice but to issue a statement interest groups to join the fight against illegal mining. And that's going to come up on your screens right now, where the amongst many about 60% of the catchment capacity is silted as a result of illegal mining, or what I'm saying, compromising the quality of raw water. We have this announcement and treated all interest groups to join the fight against galamsey on the River Pra, especially during this festive period. That's the Ghana Water Company in the latest distress call to the entirety of the country, while stressing on the need for urgent action to be taken. The fight against illegal mining and what government's assessment has been. The current challenge of illegal mining still persists with its attendant environmental degradation. That is according to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Million oil pumps distributed since 2022. There's been 1,854 inspections or site visits since 2023. And on community sensitization, 9 communities have been visited and sensitized as at the 2023 September, starting from 2022. Now, amongst many other things, in terms of prosecution, which has been one of the many things which continues to come up every now and then in terms of what government is doing in being able to put a stop to the activity, 33 persons have been convicted and sentenced in the Eastern region alone. And that was in August 2021, between the time period of August 2021 to September 2023. Now, in August 2023, the Takwa Circuit Court sentenced 25 people to various prison terms. And as with prosecution, over 130 cases of illegal mining involving over 800 accused persons are being prosecuted in courts in the Western, Eastern Ashanti, Greater Accra and Upper East regions of the country. Well, what we do know as well is that the Ghana Water Company is considering shutting down the Konongo and Oda production plants due to unbridled illegal mining, which is increasing production costs due to alarming water turbidity. In an interview on Akuma FM this morning, production manager of the Ghana Water Company, Dr. Hansen Mensah Akute, described the current situation as worrying, which is likely to deprive millions of people access to pipe-borne water. Let's take you to the Ashanti region right now. We started off in the central region. We brought you details of what the situation is like. It looks like it's not just in the central region. The Ashanti region as well has a challenge on its hands. William Evans Sinkum has joined us right now with a bit more details. Evans, describe to us the extent of devastation and the challenge water treatment is having to go through as a result of galamsey in the Ashanti region at this point.
Well, the best way to describe the current situation is a dire one, Mawuena, because now like you said in the intro, the production manager for Ghana Water Company Limited here in the Ashanti region told Sir John this morning that they are even considering shutting down the Konongo water treatment plant and that's of Odahon or Odaso. If you're talking about Konongo water treatment plant, it is serving 2 districts at the moment. So we are talking about the Asante Akim Central and then Asante Akim North districts. Per the 2021 population and housing census, Asante Akim Central has a population of over 90,000. Asante Akim North has a population of over 85,000. That is per the 2021 housing and population census. And I'm sure this time around, if we are to go around and do another head count, figures are likely to increase as far as these 2 districts are concerned. And the Konongo water treatment plant is their main source of potable water. Now, what do we see? If we go to Konongo, the level of destruction as a result of illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, is becoming even more than devastating. I mean, it is being conducted or being executed with the full glare of the people. It was only recently, barely a week ago, that the District Assembly Security Council decided to act so that there's some level of pause as far as the menace in that particular enclave is concerned. If you go to Odaso, which is in the Amansia South district, I mean, the spectacle is nothing short of ugly. I quite remember some few months back, I was there, and even a particular bridge, which appears to serve as kind of a barrier as far as these illegal activities and that of the operation of the Ghana Water Company Limited there is concerned, has also collapsed as a result of the activities of illegal mining because of the heavy equipment that they use within that particular corridor. So for us, some of us, we are not surprised that GWC is considering shutting down these plants. But then, if they go ahead to do that, the consequences will be very dire.
And Evans, is this fear of a possible shutdown, is this one that translates down to the people in the Ashanti region? Are they aware that there's an imminent shutdown of water treatment plants in the region where they possibly cannot get water as a result of illegal mining activity?
Well, some are aware. As I speak to you now, in places in the Ashanti region, water supply has been nothing short of intermittent. Erratic or water crisis could be felt in many places, even including my own place, Kwadaso North. For weeks now, we have been seeing the pipe flow. And these are some of the reasons why, because Owabe also faces a similar challenge. Then Barikese Dam also is also facing similar challenge. The cost of production is increasing at an astronomical rate. And of course, the attributes the situation to the water stability, which requires enough effort or more chemicals to be able to treat, water for consumption. So it is not new to many as far as the Ashanti region is concerned, but those who are benefiting from Galamsey, that appears that they do not care. And Mawuena, I say this, not a hearsay, and some of the very people who are at the forefront as far as Galamsey operation in the Ashanti region is concerned, they do not consume the local water. I have seen most of them, drinking water imported outside. I wouldn't want to mention some of the brands here for commercial purposes, but I've seen most of them drinking water imported. So it does appear that they do not care.
Evan, it's interesting you mentioned that individuals are the forefront of the illegal mining menace. If you know them, the big question on the minds of people watching us is whether or not authorities will know these individuals as well and why action is not being taken against them. Well,
these are, some of them are politically exposed guys, and they are doing this without fear as far as the operations here in the Ashanti region is concerned, because it does appear that they have some serious political links, and they don't give. Let me just be very economical with my words, but they really don't care about what they are doing, even though they know that they are really affecting a lot of people here in the Ashanti region.
Evans, we'll leave it here. Many thanks. That's my colleague William Evans Sinkum in the Ashanti region there for us. And in what appears to be a quite dire situation, and one that authorities, according to Evans and what we're understanding, are aware, but because of political leanings, no action is being taken.
More on this, leader of the New Force movement, Kwame Bediako, has been sharing his views on the menace of illegal mining. He believes enforcement of environmental laws is the way to go.
Do you know that protecting this environment means you're protecting your reserves? Look at the reserves, I've spoken about it. Look at the trillions. Look at the amount of jobs that it can create. Look at the economy. Look at all of these things. So it's our reserves. And guess what? We are not protecting our reserves. That is our hidden treasures. The reserves is also in the hidden lands, in the waters, the oil, the fishes, the gold, the bauxite, the lithium. It's all in the ground. It's in our water. It's in our farms. So why are we not protecting it? Why is maybe an institution like EPA busy chasing me for residual income or chasing the average Ghanaian for a permit that is given already, when their main aim is to protect these valuable assets? Okay, you're looking at something like the water poisoning of this country right now. It's hilarious.
We can now speak to Yao Ataahin, who's coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation. Thank you so much for joining us here. Today we're hearing the Ghana Water Company Limited talk about how people are at risk of deprivation of potable water, a point that we never thought we could get to. But I want to hear from you what you make of the situation on our hand at the moment.
Thank you very much. I think, let me first correct this. I'm a former chairman of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation.
Oh, right.
I'm a water technical specialist with World Vision Ghana. First of all, let me make the point that it is quite disheartening. It is quite unfortunate. It is very, very worrying that we continue to have this situation on our hands. Because this is not the first time it has happened. This is not the first time Ghana Water Company has issued such a notice. We have been battling with this for quite a long time. But the unfortunate thing is that, and the surprising thing is that government has the power, government has the resources, government has the personnel. So the only one thing that appears government doesn't have over the years will be, for me, the political will to be able to stop this and nip it in the bud. Because, you see, water is a source of life. It is a source of our livelihoods. And I don't think any of us can survive without water in our homes. And for us to be able to watch on whilst our water bodies are polluted and degraded this way, and people still have a field day, I think it is quite unfortunate. And I think the earlier citizens rise up, the earlier authorities, the traditional authorities, rise up to prevent this happening in their jurisdictions, the earlier it will, the better it will be for all of us.
I see.
We cannot allow this to continue.
Indeed. Yeah, someone would argue that, look, we've seen the government go around, attempt to seize, and in some cases seize and destroy excavators belonging to some of these illegal miners. Why do you think that didn't work?
And I've already said it. I think that, yes, we can go around to destroy excavators and all that, but for me, it is not enough. What is lacking for me is the will. And I say that if government wants to stop this, it will be able to do so.
Indeed, but yeah, also
in other parts of the world.
Indeed.
Water facilities, water bodies are national security installations. Nobody goes here to pollute it. And I think we need to declare a state of emergency and ensure that we abide by it and stop people from doing this to us.
Very well. Yeah, what I'm driving at is, what will the political will look like in the fight against Galamsey? What should we be seeing now?
What we should be seeing now is to declare a state of emergency, declare these water bodies as national security installations, and then ensure that we partner with traditional authority and citizens to stop this activity happening in the various jurisdictions. Look, often we say that we are going to provide alternative livelihood activities for these people who are engaged in Galamsey. And I have said that nothing that you can do for them can compensate them for what they get from illegal mining. And I think the best thing to do now is to stop it. However we stop it, I think that we'll be preserving not only our water bodies, but also the livelihoods of the people, the citizens who matter.
I see. Yeah, we have just a few months for this administration to wrap up. Are you hopeful that any of these things that you've spoken about can be done?
Oh, yes. I think that if we want to do it, we can do it. And I think that there are people who are willing and able to support government in its quest to nip this in the bud. And all these people are around. I think that let's work together as citizens and let's stop this destruction and pollution of our water body, because it's going to harm us big time if we don't stop it now.
I see. Now, speaking of citizens, so we hear how people are at risk of not getting potable water. There are people who are not able to understand the nexus between finding their, their daily bread and the impact it could have on, their ability to get potable drinking water. Educate the public on why it's important that this is nipped in the bud, and they need to play a role as well.
Yes, I think that it's a very good point that you have made. I think that citizens need to understand that it's a nexus. There's a connection between pollution of our water bodies and our livelihoods. And I think that if we realize this, then we should be able to take action. And I think that, yes, they realize it, but how do they stop? Because this has been something that they have lived with. That is their livelihood. And I think that government has the ultimate responsibility to ensure that we are able to stop it, because it's causing a lot of havoc, diseases. I mean, if you go to many of these communities where this is happening, several diseases are happening. And then households are losing their daily bread because of the same galamsey that they are engaged in. And then government also incurs a lot of healthcare costs. If we are able to stop this, then we'll be preventing all this from happening. And we'll be channeling the resources to very productive, uses.
Yeah, one last one before you go. We recall, and at the beginning of this package, we played President Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line. Today, he's running out of time. He's got a two-term, in office. We still have the menace on our hand, even larger than before he came into office into 2016. What's your score?
Well, I don't think I am capable to give any score. But I think that all citizens are aware of what the situation was and what the situation is now.
Did he achieve the promise? I mean, he put his presidency on the line for this, but here we are today. Did he achieve that promise?
Well, I think that there are people who are capable to provide a score and to judge. All of us as citizens can see for ourselves. What I'm saying is that it is still not too late if the president wants to salvage something out of this. The promise is still alive, and he has to act before time runs out on him.
Very well, yeah, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. Mawuena Egbeta is former chairman of the Coalition of NGOs Against Illegal Mining.
We're returning to the capital, Accra, because parts of the Makola market is still engulfed in thick smoke more than 24 hours after fire swept through the market. Fire service personnel are still at the scene trying to douse the flame. George Queenin is there and sent this brief report earlier.
Spoke to Alex Kinete, who is a member of the PR department of the Ghana National Fire Service, and I got this nose mask white, but it has now turned black, and you can tell you how serious this issue is here, and the atmosphere is quite not a pleasant one. And for him, most shops here have cylinders in them. It should not be tolerated, and they've actually fortified these shops. So when these personnel come here to fight fire, it's quite difficult. They have to break in this, and whilst they are breaking into it, the fire is still, raging. And so that's how serious it is. And for them, it's not their fault that this fire has still not been doused. And they have the men, competent men to do that, despite the fact that they have, equipment challenges. But they have the men to fight this very fire. But there's just reinforcement of fire tenders, hoping that at the end of the day, this fire will be actually doused. And that's what we are hoping for actually. And that's right. Sorry. So then the situation report here at the Zimple Lane at Makola. Fire tenders in the video. And police personnel also here trying to prevent, people from coming close. And
the kind of items there are highly combustible and highly flammable materials. For fire to start, three elements have to come together in this right proportion. We have heat, we have oxygen, and we have fuel. There's a lot of oxygen around, and especially with some parts of the building collapsing, it gave room for more oxygen to enter. If for those who were here with us, they would bear witness that all these places on fire, we were able to douse it. And then, as a result of the combustible materials, and you see, we always speak against people overloading their warehouses. The mattresses that they've stored in the warehouse, they've kept them at the window level. So even as we try fighting a fire by getting more water inside, it's been curtailed or blocked by the mattresses that are inside there. So it's not been easy. Who wouldn't want to finish this fire and go home and rest? We don't take pride in being here for 2 days, but then we are committed that no matter what, until the fire is totally extinguished, we are not going. So that's our commitment. We are doing our best. We wouldn't want to preempt, but we've gathered all our arsenal. We are not leaving any stone unturned.
Let's go now to George Queenin, who's still at the scene for us. George, 24 hours plus. Is the inferno still on? Is the fire still burning? What can you report at this particular point in time?
Thanks for having me. The fire is still raging, and let me be honest with you, it will really take time. Truth of the matter is, when it comes to fires like this, what equipment, the appropriate equipment is the turntable ladder, the one that is used for high-rise buildings. So this very building is a 2-story, and the turntable ladder that for Accra has broken down. So the fire service had to bring the one from Tema, and when it got in, it also broke down. So clearly, without that very ladder, it was very difficult to keep out the fire. So that's the challenge right now, the stands out. It's lack of equipment, and the lack of equipment has once again been exposed to within fire. So it's a serious issue, Mawuena.
Lack of equipment.
Yes.
Let's go to some of the traders who are still present around the area. Are they seeking to remove their items from their various shops with the fire still raging 24 hours on? What have they been telling you?
So people that are close to the area they've actually taken like old people that are like the elderly in the houses away from the area, because there are visible cracks on the building, and the fire service, it's a clear indication that so all those people around have taken elderly the building, and they are hoping that it will not extend to their buildings. But some of the items could not be taken to get work on for it to get, those that could have been started, and those that could not are still being,
Let's take a listen to some of the people George Keminni has been interacting with.
Single mothers, and yes, I'm going to
say anything about Qatar.
Because me could do job, me could find your man to the aircon. It's me, you know, we see Nano. It's me, some Chiaco. Because they are me, Quaco, find your man or what I'm saying. I said, yes, you need to be Pamucho. Hey, where is this woman? I want to make to finance our job to say, what are they doing?
Auto knows because we see her. It's not auto, it's you make it cash.
Yes, we got it cash. I am not. I want to. Who's the name? My life. This is some of the way 17 because we buy a new. Never show no smash.
But who said the sense to how and what thing?
Maybe don't sauce, my giant no smash. Well, promise me about the new one. Yeah, but who are only starting the personality because in the show we are.
It's who see a new conway giant.
Yeah, who's anything I may yeah, Ghana wants it.
Every time who make his country, we say that's not say banana, what's that in those parts?
George, let's return to the fire. You mentioned that it's still raging. What have the fire personnel been telling you?
Visible cracks on the wall and the service fears that the building might collapse. So people who are around are very apprehensive. The fact is they want the fire down as soon as possible because they cannot watch on to see their buildings also affected. But one issue the fire service raised was the fact that the fear that market fires will be, increasing is high. The fact is when they make these recommendations, assemblies fail to implement them. So if we're really talking about ending market fires, then it should start with assemblies implementing some of these recommendations that are captured in the report of the fire service.
All right, thank you, George. But if you're watching us, perhaps the challenge George has been speaking about, which fire personnel have been telling him about, is a lack of equipment to be able to deal with the inferno. Is exactly what you're seeing on the screen. No ladders for these fire personnel to be able to reach the second floor. Where the fire is raging, they're having to fight the fire from the ground, and 24 hours on, that fire is still raging, like George Keminni has been telling us. And that's the picture on your screen, the difficulty with which personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service are going through at this particular point in time in being able to douse this particular inferno. And look, it's not even reaching the second floor when they initially started. And these are the present challenges to which they're having to fight these fires. It's, very difficult situation. And for a lot of people who have businesses and stores where they make their bread, that will be a difficult watch, Keminni.
Away from the fire, members of parliament are expected to reconvene tomorrow, Tuesday, September 3rd, for the recall sitting summoned by the Speaker. The sitting will take place at the dome of the Accra International Conference Centre due to ongoing retrofitting works in the chamber. Let's join Evelyn Tingma, who is at the Accra International Conference Centre, for a quick update on the situation. Evelyn, good morning to you. Good afternoon now, excuse me. So is the venue ready for tomorrow's parliamentary sitting? What does it look like? Show us around.
Yes, Keminni, the place is not ready yet. And so shortly, I will be showing you what is happening here. Preparation is underway. So as we speak, we have the parliamentary staff who are trying to put the whole place in shape for tomorrow's sitting. So we have the chairs from the chamber that have been brought here to the Accra Conference Center, the dome to be specific. So the old chairs have been brought from the chamber, and we have some of the decks also brought from Parliament that will complement some of the decks already here at the conference center. And so there's work going on, and they're checking the lighting systems, the screens are being put in place and all that. And so work is currently ongoing for tomorrow's sitting.
I see. How long is this dome going to be Parliament's temporary chamber?
For just 2 days. So tomorrow, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. So Parliament is expected to sit for tomorrow and then Wednesday to transact a few business. Of course, you know, before the House went on recess, the majority caucus complained that there were some pertinent government issues that they needed to look at. And so they petitioned the Speaker to recall the House for them to transact such business. And so we are expecting that tomorrow, those businesses that the majority caucus indicated that business between tomorrow and then Wednesday. And we also understand the presidential nominee to the Supreme Court, you know, the appointment committee vetted the Supreme Court judges. And of course, we understand that the report is ready. We do not know if they will take that also. And then there was also a loan agreement, a World Bank loan agreement that was shut down before the House went on recess. And of course, we are also expecting that that also will be done. And then there are other businesses that, of course, the majority will want to put in place. And so these are some of the things that, including others that we may not know, that will be discussed within the 2 days that they will be setting for this.
Evelyn, let's catch up on works in the actual chamber, the retrofitting that we know is going on there. You know, how soon are they done? When can the chamber be ready?
Yeah, so Keminni, for the chamber, we understand that work is supposed to be completed by ending of October. And so, you know, Parliament is expected to come back and resume work ending of October. And so the Speaker the last time told us that work is expected to be completed end of October. And so as we speak, work is also ongoing over there. And we are expecting that, I mean, all the necessary things to be put in place for the House to reconvene in October for them to meet. And of course, we understand that it is also in preparation for the 9th Parliament. And so it is not just for the reconvening of this particular Parliament, but it's basically the reconstruction is basically for the 9th Parliament. And so we are expecting a lot more in the chamber when it is finally completed.
Evelyn Tingma, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Away from Parliament, the Electricity Company of Ghana has dismissed claims that the installation of new meters is a scheme to overcharge customers. The company asserts that the new meters accurately reflect actual consumption rates and cautions against tampering with them. Samuel Dubik Mahama, who's managing director of ECG, has been speaking at the beginning of an exercise to replace obsolete meters in Accra East.
Please, let's not politicize this exercise. Let's not have the politician having to call to say, oh, suspend this, consider. Let's not do that at all. Let's learn to conserve energy in our homes. Let's turn off devices that are not being used. We have over 6 companies that are doing this exercise. This exercise started some time back. It has a huge success story attached to it. This exercise has led to over 30% increment in our revenue already. It has provided us some massive visibility on the meters that have been installed, that we know their real-time value, we know how much revenue they bring to the company. It has reduced our losses in certain areas drastically. Please, once again, do not touch these meters, because it will bring about a different conversation where now we have to come and talk to you about it. Revenue mobilization for ECG is key. This year being an election year doesn't mean that you don't have to consume electricity. You have to consume. And when you consume, you have to pay.
Our colleague Noble Crosby Annan is with Samuel Dubik Mahama and the ECG team who are going through on this exercise. Crosby, let's perhaps start off from the concerns of overbilling, which has come up quite recently. Has he been speaking to this, and what's been his response to complaints by customers?
You know, Eric, since this new meter exercise began, a lot of people have been complaining about the Electricity Company of Ghana trying to, if you like, fleece them of their money. They're saying that, to put in direct terms, that these meters run like a sailboat. But according to the MD of the company, these meters reflect accurately the consumption rates of people. So the explanation is that, you know, the old meters, they had some forms of mechanical inaccuracies, if you like. It is a little bit slow. If you plug a phone, for instance, it may not read properly because it is only a phone to charge. But these new meters, whatever electrical appliance you plug, however small, it will be able to detect it and it will be able to read it so that it will let the losses that the Electricity Company of Ghana has been recording over the past couple of years, it would reduce because it will reflect exactly how you consume power. Some of the big drama is saying that this exercise or these new meters should let consumers now begin to realize the need to conserve or save energy. He's also warning against tampering with these meters because he says that there is some form of connection between these meters and the head office. So whoever touches that, it will automatically be seen as the head office of the company and some sanctions will be applied. So the claims that these meters are overcharging is not true. They are just the correct reflection of the usage of power by consumers.
Briefly, on complaint as well that debt is being accrued on these meters. Last week we had a story about customers complaining that they're using the prepaid meters and all of a sudden there's 7,000, 13,000 cedis debt overhang on their meters. Has that been addressed at this particular news conference? Can you tell us?
Exactly, Eric. So what happens according to the MD of ECG is that due to how old the system is, the old meters, when he asked that the meters, these prepaid meters should not be used for more than 10 years, a decade. So if they're used for over a decade and it happens that they have to, change it to the new meters, they are able to transfer your credits if you have any onto the new meters, and if you owe on the old meters too, it is reflected. However, there may be, because of how smart these new meters are, there may be some loopholes in the connection to and from your house. So it is not that the company is intentionally taking money from you. It could be as a result of some openings that you do not know about, and there will be the need to report to the ECG. ECG will let officials come, standards authority.
Right.
They'll come and then ascertain whether you're losing power through other means you may not be aware, because these meters, Eric, again, are very smart, nothing power system.
Right then, Crosby, many thanks for those details. That's my colleague, Noble Crosby Annan. He will take us on to our very first break here on News Central. When we return, we're live in Tamale and later in the Northeast region because the Tamale High Court has annulled the NPP's Wale Wale primary and ordered a rerun. We have details plus a reaction from the Wale Wale constituency for you if you stay with us here on News Central.
Welcome back. It's time now for Regional Hub. We'll start off in Tamale, where the High Court there has annulled the Wale New Patriotic Party primary between Lariba Zuwera and Dr. Tia Abdul Kabiru Mahama. The incumbent member of parliament for Wale constituency, Hajia Lariba Abudu, filed a case at the Tamale High Court contesting the election results that declared Dr. Kabiru Tia as the winner. This afternoon, the court has ordered a rerun of the primary. Let's cross over to our northern region correspondent, Christopher Amwako, who was in court today. Christopher, good afternoon to you. Tell us what happened in court today.
Yes, so Keminni, basically when the judge, the case was called, the judge went straight to summarize the ruling of that particular case, and what he said was just that the election has been annulled and called for a rerun, and the reason being that there were some irregularities actually as claimed by the MPP member of parliament for Walwale Hajia Zuwera Lariba Abudu, and so he indicated that the full ruling would be made available on the 12th of this month. And so where we are now is that there is an order for a rerun in the Walwale constituency in the camp of the ruling New Patriotic Party. The act the Keminni was a very sad one because both supporters of Kabiru and Hajia Zuwera could not jubilate because of the fact that they are looking at the forthcoming December 7 general elections.
I see. We understand that the lawyers have also spoken. What did they say?
Yes, so the lawyer for the first defendant, that is Dr. Kabiru, lawyer Samson Ayeni, actually indicated that he's not happy with the ruling so far, but he's waiting for the full ruling as the court has indicated so that he can go through and advise, so that they will advise themselves accordingly. And the lawyer for the plaintiff also is saying that yes, he's happy that the court has actually come out with a verdict that the plaintiff, the issues raised by the plaintiff actually are true, and so there should be a rerun. But he's also made indications that the MPP as a political party should learn from this and make sure that in subsequent elections they take things serious and everything will go on smoothly. Let's take a listen to what they've actually been saying in court.
Out of the 6, there is what we call a list of their delegates. Before the elections, it was compiled and shared with every stakeholder. They disputed that list. We produced medical cause of death certificate. They came and they were challenging. But you don't deny that the person is dead. Now, in law, if we said that this person is dead and has voted, and you said he's not dead, now the burden is shifted to you. Once you know the delegates and their numbers are on the album, what do? You go and call them to come to court and testify that we are not dead.
As we speak, we don't know the reasons for the decision. The court says it will give its reasons on the 12th of September. We will wait, read the reasons, and find if they are sound. But as far as the record goes, they cannot be sound. Our view is that the judgment does not correspond with the evidence that was led, the documentary, and the telephone conversation.
Christopher, do we know if the plaintiff and respondent were in court?
Yes, so the first defendant, that is Dr. Kabiru Tia, was in court, and after proceedings, he actually spoke to the media, indicating that he's equally waiting, even though he's not happy, for the reasons to be given by the court on the 12th for him to take a decision on that. Let's also take a listen to what he's been saying.
For instance, I just want to thank my legal team. They have demonstrated very well that this case was a case that was supposed to be won by our team. Not just on the law, but on the facts of the case. Like Counsel rightly mentioned, we brought evidence. People engaged in the malpractice so-called. They were procured by the same person benefiting from this result or this particular ruling. I cannot see any more wicked injustice than this. The court is a citadel of justice. The court is supposed to be a fortune of the codified moral rights of our country.
Well, it looks like Wale Wale MPP is headed for another primary. We'll keep you updated on the story. Earlier was my colleague, Christopher Amwako.
We'll still stay in the northern parts of the country, where the Wenchi High Court has ordered government to pay 6 victims of the Techiman South electoral violence a total of 270,000 cedis as compensation for violation of their rights and legal fees incurred during the trial. This was after the court, presided over by Justice Frederick Naura, found that their right to life and dignity had been breached. 8 lives were lost, as many others suffered various degrees of injuries during the 2020 elections. 6 of the injured persons took the matter to the court and have secured this judgment. The court has also ordered the state to investigate those responsible for the violence to ensure their protection. We can switch and do politics now, because farmers in the Kintampo North constituency of the Bono East region say they will not be hoodwinked into giving their support to the NPP going into the December 7 elections. As the days inch closer, they cite the economy as a major decider in the choice they will make for who becomes president and MP. My colleague Komla Kluche has filed this report.
This is Babatokuma in the Kintampo North constituency. The primary occupation for many is farming. 27-year-old Gata Jennifer is a farmer. Married for 8 years, she has 3 children. The only opportunity for Jennifer is to help her husband on the farm. On a Monday morning, before she jets off to the farm, she prepares her favorite, kokonte. There has been several interventions by government, both social and economic, geared towards bettering the lives of the citizens. She has a different view.
When it was not free SHS, it was better off. My sister is in secondary school now. Often she goes hungry even without gari.
Elections are due in some 96 days. She has her verdict. Wabrabo Muti saying,
life has become unbearable with my children. I am not even able to prepare a decent meal of kokonte to eat.
With the 23 page drum ground to me tongue. Some abitiana me babecano. Now, what was something intimate abitian and chamin.
In the same community, other female farmers are displeased with governments in the midst of the impending dry spell waiting to implode with harsh conditions.
They met me say, first MPP at Nakonjason, ye free. This
NPP government has run everything down. Bad roads, education have all become a fluke. We can't even see the free education promised us.
Almost a free education, and so young Hununa new Cora. And they say they are per se and this one bad year. One bad year, ya brapa, ya bra.
Life is hard. Food is too expensive. We simply want this government out for an NDC one.
Kintampo North is currently an NDC seat, with the party firming efforts at extending their win on the 2020 records, but most importantly to give John Mahama a chance to better the lives of Ghanaians. As he engages constituents in the Bono East region, his interaction will be to cover 11 constituencies, offering them hope. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Babatokuma, Kintampo North.
Well, this afternoon, the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, has commenced his Central Regional Campaign Tour. There, the Vice President will engage in a host of activities as he canvasses for more votes ahead of the December polls. Stanley Nibleu has been following the team and joins us with some updates. Stanley, good afternoon to you. What can you report?
So, Keminni, at about 8 a.m. today, the Vice President, who also doubles as the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, in a company of his campaign team, arrived in Kaswa in the Ewutu Senior East constituency as part of his central regional tour. He has been shadowed for 2 constituencies today. Yesterday, he visited 4 constituencies in the Greater Accra region. Today, he's been shadowed to visit some 2 constituencies, that is Ewutu Senior East and West constituencies, to rally more people for himself and for the party so that they can retain the NPP in power. When he came, he toured market centers, he toured the streets of Kaswa, meeting and greeting people and telling them what he will be doing for them when they vote for him to become the next president. After that, he also went to the one of the chief palace, and then he met the tribal council of tribal council of chiefs, and he also told them what he'll be doing for the Zongo communities. He has also been talking about economic reform, so we can take a look at and listen at these economic reforms that he's proposing to implement.
Well, Stanley, we do not have that at the moment, but thank you so much for reporting. Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia on the tour of the Central Region.
So, dear, me person boa for ye fund the ba ye ma ye business no ye sika to fund sa fund no ebe boa for na ye sika atawo wechi no to me aye the bank for small business. So but a whole banker, it's only focused on business people.
This afternoon, let's talk wills, because the importance of wills is not lost on anybody yet. It is often overlooked until the inevitable happens. In this report, Evelyn Tengma delves into why you need a will today.
Death is often regarded as inevitable, and while it comes unannounced, preparing a will for most young people is not a priority. For some middle-aged persons and millennials who are able to acquire some property, majority associated with the elderly or assume they are forever 21. Others are also uncomfortable dealing with the subject of death and never get round to doing it until the inevitable happens. Wills are legal documents that detail how one's property should be distributed when they pass on, helping reduce potential disputes after death. Private legal practitioner Ayukwe Otu says one does not need to have everything before writing a will.
If you have it, take steps to see that after you have left, there will not be much of a problem. There are too many of them. I'm a guy, and I'll tell you a lot of disunity has been as a result of intestate succession. Somebody is dead, and I am the firstborn. I should live in his room. I am the this. My father loved me, but you didn't do anything to bring fame to the family.
So does age not matter?
As lawyers, we always advise that once you begin to work, in my opinion, and you begin to acquire some, movable, you have a car, some money in the bank, shares, your clothes, jewelry. So whatever it is that you can give to somebody, should be something, whether movable or immovable, should be something that you should be able to hire the service of a lawyer.
When someone dies without making a will, distribution of the property most often becomes a contentious issue for families to deal with, resulting in the application of PNDC Law 111.
Whether the person is a spouse, whether the person is a child, whether the person is qualified to be an administrator of the estate, and then whether the administrators are actually administering the estate in the manner that is required of them. So generally, those are the areas where there's a lot of litigation when it comes to the PNDC Law 111.
The famous case of Madam Georgina Badu, Georgina Stores, she had plenty of houses and properties, but had no child. And we fought for years in the High Court. Even they wanted to take hold of the corpse. They made one small mistake, and we used a technicality against them. They filed an application, the application was dismissed. They filed an appeal, they didn't ask for stay. Within the period, I asked them to go and bury the corpse. They took and buried it. Afterwards, they came, said, too late.
Lawyer Nick Paposomwa insists on making a will.
The will is prepared and completed. We have a place we keep a copy. And so the lawyer will advise you. We keep a copy at the courts. We also give you a copy. You understand? There's a receipt that is supposed to be, you have executors, people who are supposed to execute the will. So when you die, there are people who, if you've made the will and it has been done in accordance with law, who have knowledge that you have a will, and so will approach the appropriate authority.
In some instances, names of beneficiaries are listed to an estate in a will, but some persons go to the extent of challenging it.
I have lost one before. He lost in the High Court, came to me. I won at the Court of Appeal. They went to the Supreme Court. And they said they believed that it was forged. I wrote the will for the person. And I had testified that the date there was written. That is my handwriting. They said no. People challenge wills all the time.
Maybe you had a child in school and you haven't made provision in your will and there's property to be used. He can go to court and ask that out of your estate, a certain portion of it should be allocated to look after himself, his fees, his upkeep, because you have the duty under law to look after that child. They can challenge the will and give basis why they believe that you will never have left them out.
Interestingly, many are aware of the importance of making a will, but very few people have wills. Since death is inevitable and age, we are told, does not matter, if the needful is not done, you will not have any control over who enjoys the property you toiled to acquire in your lifetime if you die without a will. Lawyers will say writing a will is a very liberating experience with less worries about the future. So, no more procrastination. Contact a lawyer and prepare your will today for a happier tomorrow. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Accra.
I hope you have a will.
Not yet, but perhaps based on this education,
yeah.
I mean, the argument is that even if you believe you don't have anything just as yet, you should have a will. Even though there's a school of thought that suggests that, look, when you're gone, let there be a fight. Let there be a fight.
The chaos also works.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's the most preferred, and so you should get a will. But let's scan quickly as we try and head out of the studio. Scan that for us, and perhaps you get to watch that video again as to why a will is important for you, because death is inevitable. And join the 3 News WhatsApp family. That's a place where you find everything news related here at TV3, 3FM, and on our various social media handles.
Coming up now is the afternoon show. I'm Keminni Amanor.
And I am Mawuena Egbeta.
Bye-bye from us.